Day 2 of our 10-day family safari in Kenya and Tanzania. Yesterday we spent the day in Solio Game Reserve seeing lots and lots of rhinos, and this morning we woke up at the beautiful Rhino Watch Lodge right outside of the park. We of course had a whole itinerary before coming on this trip, but I have to say one day in and expectations have already been exceeded. And since we're basically on a huge road trip around Kenya and Tanzania, we hopped back in the safari cars this morning and we were off on another day full of adventuring. We made a quick little stop at the equator, which was fun, and then we drove a little bit further to Thompson Falls. At one point, me and Peyton were walking around the viewpoint area of the waterfalls, and this group of at least 20 boys ran up to us and wanted to take a picture with us, which was so funny, so we got these pictures on the film camera. I just had to add this in because it was such a funny experience. Okay, but next up today was Lake Nakuru National Park, one of my favorite places that we visited in all of Kenya. Like, how could you not fall in love with a place when these are the views in the first 5 minutes? Up first, we saw the cutest little vervet monkey, and then we saw our very first hippo of the trip. We were watching the birds in the lake, and the hippo popped up out of nowhere, which was so exciting. Some of the other animals that we saw by the lake were impalas, water bucks, buffalo, topi, and of course a bunch of zebra. I have to say, zebras might just be one of my favorite animals to see out here. One thing that most people come to Lake Nakuru for is to see the masses of pink flamingos that are typically in the lake, but sadly the storms and the floods that came through the area earlier this year forced all the flamingos to go elsewhere. We were lucky enough to see a few flamingos, but definitely not the masses like you normally see here. In my opinion, one of the coolest things that we saw in the park were these baboons. There were so many babies and they were riding around on the mom's back and they were everywhere. When I tell you that every time you turned your head there was something new to watch the baboons doing, it was so entertaining. And then the babies got off the mom's back and started climbing up into the trees. Like, come on, how precious is this? And to our surprise, we even got to see this colobus monkey sitting in the tree. There are so many different monkey species that we've seen already, and this has to be one of the most unique looking. And just like clockwork, the afternoon rainstorm started just as we were making our way back to the other end of the park where we were staying for the night. Tonight's accommodation is at the Flamingo Hill Tented Camp, and it's actually inside the national park, which is so exciting, and this camp is absolutely gorgeous. The theme of our accommodations for this trip is definitely glamping. These tents make you feel like you're out in the nature and you can hear all the animals all night long, but you still have indoor bathrooms and running water. We'll be changing camps almost every night of this trip besides a few places, but that means that there's always something new every single day. Day 2 was another incredible day, and tomorrow we'll be heading into the Masai Mara to see the Great Migration in full swing.